Hi, everyone. Mitch from PickDogs.com, and it is Sunday, March 26, 2023. Here with your live show. We're live 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We've got NHL, NBA, and college basketball all in action today. Half the Final Four is in place. Last night, it was Florida Atlantic cutting down the nets, and then UConn, I think they just hit another three, cutting down the nets in the second game. That was one of the bigger ass kickings you'll ever see. In an Elite Eight matchup. Today's game's a little bit different, and we'll talk a little bit about these with everyone that's going to be on the show today. Of course, the first one, Creighton against San Diego State, two programs that you don't generally see when you see national titles and that sort of stuff. Then game two, Miami and Texas, two of the most decorated programs in all of college sports. Miami, 106 national championships across all sports. Texas, about 55 or 56 national championships across those sports. Of course, a lot of those Miami national championships are in individual sports like diving and tennis and swimming. So, a lot of those are not, but I believe they have about half of them are in the team sports as well. So going to be a good matchup. And, I grew up with I've seen the Miami Texas matchup across the other two sports in baseball and in football in big games. And it's been all Miami in those. But today, I don't know, man. McCain's going to need a little help because, of course, it was the 82 College World Series, the first time these programs really squared off in a big game. It was Miami taking down some guy named Roger Clemens in the College World Series to win the World Series that year. And then, of course, the 91 Cotton Bowl, 202 penalty yards against the Miami Hurricanes. Many also declined penalties against them in a 46-3 beatdown where Miami took offense to some of the comments that some of the Texas players had made about them during the course of the week. The Miami players didn't say a word. They got out onto the field, and basically they let the animal out of the cage. The Longhorns ran out of the tunnel. Miami met them there and started woofing at them immediately. It never stopped the entire game, the taunting, the dancing, the everything else, including the branding of Bevo, the Texas Longhorn mascot, by Sebastian the Ibis. It really got ugly in that one. And after the game, the world of college football, the world of sports was never the same again. They changed the rules, and a new rule was instituted for the following season, simply called the Miami rule, which still is in effect today. We saw it more and more prevalent this year called than any other season. In fact, it has to do with taunting and dancing. And excessive taunting, dancing is a 15-yard automatic. Miami in that game against Texas was getting them called two at a time. They had several 1st and 40s in that game. You can look back at it, and I know the Texas fans were not happy about the way things went down. I know the Miami fans felt that Texas deserved it from start to finish because they felt that statements made by some of the Texas players, including their offensive linemen, would be by today's standards deemed racist. And the Miami players took that personally, and they were screaming it at the Texas players the entire game, all the way down to the final gun when they, instead of shaking hands, they continued to dance their way all the way into the tunnel, across the field, and really rang it up on them. A lot of people say that's the day that the Canes lost control of the asylum. I don't know. I think it was the day that changed college football, but these programs have not really met since then in anything. It has been intentional, and it'll be interesting to see because, of course, none of these players that are playing today were alive to see that, but a lot of the fan base was. So going to be interesting to see how these Horns handle it if they happen to get the edge here on Miami. But anyways, we've got a lot of cappers here today ready to get the edge for you. First up, Chris Ruffolo. Chris, how's it going?
Good, man. I can listen to you talk about all the Canes stories till the cows come home.
Well, that was the classic. It was like when they called the dancing in the end zone penalty on Maurice Crum. It's like penalty. He was dancing in the end zone. It's like The opening kickoff of that game, you could see the Miami players huddled on the sideline, and Robert Bailey's pounding his chest saying, I got him, I got him, I got him. And he kicked the ball off, and the Texas player took the ball and ran it out of the end zone. He never played another down of football ever again. Bailey just absolutely decapitated him. He was unconscious out on the field on the opening kickoff. Never played another down of football ever again. Miami was they took big time offense to the Texas comments, and they did not say a word at the press conference all week leading up to it. It was nuts. You can look this up. 1991 Cotton Bowl. You guys should take a look at this thing, because if you don't remember it, you need to see it. And you need to see the highlights from it, because it was Texas scored 3 points because Miami had penalties that allowed Texas to move the ball all the way down the field and get into field goal range. Without a positive play, Texas got into field goal range with all the penalties against Miami, and that was the only points they scored the entire game. That's how bad it was. 55 passing yards for the Horns, and they were down the whole game, so they were passing.
That's crazy.
It was nuts. But today, I think, probably a little different atmosphere, a little different. Like I said, these guys really not involved in that. And two really good head coaches in this one. I mean, we had Dennis Erickson coaching the Canes back then, just a little different scenario. And Texas also, not their finest hour either, with the name calling. I mean, I am a name caller, so I always appreciate it, but there's a line, there's a line on the name calling.
It takes a good name caller to appreciate name calling.
Well, the fireworks were going off in Boca last night, all the way up until the wee hours of 8:45 p.m.
The party in Boca, I could only imagine.
For the Owls.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
I could only imagine. Probably going nuts.
Anyways, Chris, what do you got cooking for us today?
For me today, I'm going to go to the ice. We had a great day on the ice yesterday. I'm going to try to carry it right over here. I'm going to go with the Arizona Coyotes. I think this is a great spot for the Coyotes. They're not making the playoffs, but they're looking to build some positive vibes going into next season. At home this year, they're 20-11-3, 22-12 on the puck line. Now the Avs, they're the better team here. They're the only team, that's going anywhere in a couple of weeks once we start playoff hockey. But that 3-1 win last time these two teams met just a few days ago, I don't think that was as wide open as the final score indicates. It was a 1-1 game midway through the third before the Avs finally broke through. And I think it's going to be a tight game here, and I think the Coyotes have a chance to steal it. Don't look now, but they've won 6 in a row at home. They're the league's most profitable home team. You're up around $1,800 if you dropped $100 on the Coyotes in each of their home games this season. And they're more than $1,000 more profitable than the second most profitable home team in the NHL, the Boston Bruins. So I think the Coyotes hold some value here. We're getting them at plus 255. I think they're worth a sprinkle here, just considering how much success they've had at home this season.
Well, I believe the Coyotes 7-0 as puck line home dogs, right? In their last 7 in this spot. Yeah. So, the only thing I know about hockey is the trends. I certainly don't know any of the players. Couldn't name anyone on either team, even though the Avalanche won the title last year. So I couldn't name a player. I know Joe Sakic has something to do with the organization still.
Yeah.
You remember him?
Yeah.
Peter Forsberg team. Or the Sakic team, however you want to term it.
Sakic, Teemu Selanne was on there as well.
Teemu Selanne played with too moo teams, though. Yeah, I think Sakic and Forsberg are most known for being an Avalanche. Teemu Selanne was more of a wasn't he on the Canucks?
I think he was on the Canucks. He was on the Ducks. I know that for sure.
That's right.
The Winnipeg Jets, when he had that when he threw his glove up in the air and fired it down as one member of the Winnipeg Jets.
Member of the Jets will blitz on every play. What do you got cooking today at Pick Dogs?
Today, got a couple things on the go. Got a 3-pack for both college hoops and NHL. So got my $15 college basketball slam dunk. Great day yesterday. Hoping to carry that forward into today.
All right. Well, that was exciting, Chris. Thanks for filling us in on that tidbit of information. about the Avalanche and the Coyotes. No rivalry that goes back to the 90s and before, huh?
Unfortunately, no, because the Coyotes didn't join the league in 95 or 96, so we don't have it that far to go back. But actually, the Avalanche might have as well.
Premium picks on both Final Four games today.
Yes.
Okay. Any note you can give out? Any tidbit of information? Any teaser or anything? Anything you got to say about these two teams? The two games.
Well, I think I get your popcorn ready because I think it's going to be great from the start of the first game up to the end of the last game. I think we're going to have a couple of nail biters on our hands here.
Gee, thanks for the insight, Chris. That was really fun.
Well, what do you want me to say? I will say for that.
What does San Diego State have to do to win today?
Honestly, just slow down Creighton. They're San Diego State. They can match them up defensively, but Creighton, their offense has been really good. They're top 100 in 3-point percentage, 2-point percentage in foul shooting. They're top 20. So just got to use their size. Use what's brought San Diego State to the dance. They're the 4th best team in the country in terms of adjusted defensive efficiency, 3rd best in 3-point defense. So just trying to negate Creighton's advantages here. Creighton doesn't get to the line too much, so you just got to make sure you don't put them on the foul line.
These teams played in the Maui Invitational this year. They just missed each other is really what happened. There are certain teams in those preseason tournaments or early season tournaments that don't play one another due to their performance within the tournament. Creighton took it to the final, losing to Arizona, and it was also Arizona beating San Diego State in the same tournament. So both these teams have the ability to lose to Arizona, who is already out of the tournament. How about Miami, Texas? And there's a lot of variables in this one. Obviously, Disu for Texas, could or couldn't go. We saw him in a boot last game. Boot usually means no, but we'll have to see what that means. Obviously, Texas really struggled against Penn State, who was kind of a lesser, slower version of Miami. And, Miami has gotten, they certainly have been far from perfect this year, especially away from home, and losing last year in the Big 8 to a Big 12 team that they had dead to rights by, they were up by 20 in that game against Kansas.
Yeah. I mean, everybody talks about guard play winning in March, and some people are using that to point towards Texas, but I think Miami's guard play has been just as good, if not better than Texas's. I like Marcus Carr, but Isaiah Wong, fantastic ACC player of the year for Miami, and no Dylan Deese in the middle. I think that's only going to benefit Norshad Omier. I think he's going to have another great game inside. I think this is, like I said, this is a great spot, for an exciting game. I think Miami,
one of the better big men tournaments, at least, coming into this round and the prior round that we've seen in the tournament in a long time, in a tournament that's usually dominated by guard play, like you said, and guys that can hit the threes. But we've seen some really impressive play, including last night where we saw the freshman running the floor for UConn. We saw, we've seen a lot of big guys, make a lot of noise. We saw Princeton, who's medium-sized big guy, right? I mean, really had a great tournament, and of course, Miami's big man, no exception. Of course, their last loss, he didn't play, so kind of tough to figure that one out. But anyways, Chris, thanks for joining us. Thanks for being a sewer and stopping. See you later.
See you later.
It's Chris Ruffolo. We see him every day here, so we certainly appreciate him around here. He always is a good sport about my jokes too. That's for sure. Up next, we've got no hands in the air. All right. That means it's Al Ninos time. You know that. Al, what's happening?
Going pretty good. How are you doing, Mitch?
I'm hanging in there. I'm excited about today's game. I'm not nervous about it. I am just pretty much excited about it. So, I mean, there's a difference, but
not even a little bit, huh?
I'm not nervous. I mean, we're happy to be here. We have a good team. We have a team that's experienced, that's been in this exact same spot before. And not too many of these teams that are left have that kind of experience behind them. Did not serve Gonzaga all that well yesterday, but I didn't think that was a great Gonzaga team that they had. And I think, most of our cappers were on UConn in that game.
Yeah, I mean, Gonzaga hasn't looked the same all year long, really. I mean, they started off the season slow, then went on a little bit of a run, but really never looked the same as they did last season or last couple of seasons, actually. So
No, they just didn't have like kind of that they had no help for Timmy on the inside.
Yeah, he's been doing his thing for sure. Yeah.
You know, and I mean, you got to give that guy full credit. I thought that the fourth foul was really stupid on his part, but outside of that, I mean, he always leaves it all out on the court. We know that, you know. So certainly a guy who will be missed in college basketball. But knowing Mark Few, he's probably got 6 of those guys in the pipeline and another 5 in the transfer portal, all lined up and ready to come in.
I'm sure there's lots of talent waiting to go there. So, yeah.
So this Texas-Miami game, the one I'm most interested in, like I have been saying all week, well, not all week, since yesterday, a lot of these guys on Texas played on Iowa State last year, a team that Miami beat soundly in the Sweet 16. So a little bit of revenge on their mind, but also from some of the Miami guys, we know we could beat these guys. So should be a good one as well. So, you know, I think, you know, with these games, what we've seen in the NCAA tournament, there's always the potential for a blowout and there's always the potential for a great game. And it just seems to me the odd thing is, and, you know, when teams have had a chance for the last shot, we've seen more steals of this last shot than I've ever, you know, in the last couple of days than I could ever remember, including Florida Atlantic just getting that hand in there, you know, last night, just, you know, saying that's it.
Definitely love that one because, yeah, they were getting hot from deep too. So yeah, definitely was glad to see that steal.
Well, what do you got cooking for us today?
Gonna be looking at some NBA again. Looking at another dog here. Again, a bit of a heartbreaker for me going up against my Lakers today. This line is dropping, so I'd go ahead and grab this number as soon as possible. I'm on the Bulls here. Not too much value left on the points. You can still grab 3 points, I guess. That's not a terrible spot to be in, but I think I'd rather be on the money line myself in this a game that could go either way, really. The Lakers have been playing pretty well. If they get Russell back today, I think it could go either way. If he sits, I like the Bulls a lot more here and would definitely take them on the money line. But yeah, I just think that's where the value is in this matchup. The Bulls have been playing a little bit better lately. Still not quite as well as they could be, I guess, but I think they got what it takes to beat these Lakers here. And these teams also trending to the overs, which is an interesting look because I think their strengths on offense, each team kind of go against what the other teams are bringing on defense. So I think both teams should have success offensively as well. And I could see a high-scoring game here. But my play's on the Bulls, probably money line over the points. But you can do a bit of both, probably.
I think this should be a good one too. I'm with you. I like the Bulls as well in this spot. I just think, you know, with the points, also we're seeing the line coming down. This is a Brian Bittler special. It's like they're begging you to take the Lakers here with just a 3-point number here. So you know, normally, you know, you see the Lakers at home and all that other stuff. I mean, it's a huge TV market. It's also a big betting market. And I think, you know, when we look at some of these betting markets, and you know, as people thinking. You know, how, you know, more people thinking they have access to the betting action that's out there. But it's like, we've shown this information and if we look at it, my guess is we'll go back and look at it over the course of this NCAA tournament. It hasn't been right in a very long time. And including yesterday, getting absolutely bludgeoned. If you think it was the Sharps or whatever versus Squares, the Sharps got crushed. I mean, if that's what it was, the last two days, absolutely destroyed, especially in that Miami game against Houston. They got just absolutely, if that money action is correct, which we know it isn't, they got just busted up.
I try not to pay too much attention to the sharp and non-sharp thing.
I don't think it's correct.
And the money thing
is correct because you have a team like Texas, right? And you have a team like Houston. These are big money teams, big money. Like big money, you know, on these teams. When you go to Vegas and you go to the sports book, it doesn't matter if these teams are good, bad, sideways. If Texas is playing anybody, I was there when they played Alabama. The whole book is Texas. Everybody is on Texas. I mean, it is.
You know,
they have a lot of money. You look at those Texas athletic facilities. It's like, whoa. You see who sits in the front row for the Houston games? Same guy that owns the Rockets, Tillman Fertitta. He's got a couple bucks in his back pocket.
Yeah, and they love backing their Texas teams too out there. So
they absolutely do, big time.
Yeah. Sorry.
But anyways, what do you got cooking today at Pick Dogs? What are you selling?
I got a 3-pack. Pretty surprising day for me. Quiet day in the NBA, quiet day in the NHL. Just one play in each of those sports. But I got to play in both college games today. And 3-pack, my best bet in each sport. My $15 play in the NBA as well. So go ahead and grab whatever you're looking for. Always a good time for the long term and 2-for-1 capper specials.
All right, Al. Well, thanks for joining us as always. We'll see you during the week.
All right, see you.
That was Al Ninos. He's been pretty hot lately. Next up, Wayne. I don't know. It always goes Al Wayne or Wayne Al for some reason, but it just always does. But
what's going on, Mitch?
Wayne Keller Plant got crushed. I mean, he got
chill out, man.
He got just. I mean, woo.
From about the 7th round on, yeah, it was pretty.
He was a pinata, and Benavides was the bat.
You don't think you don't think he boxed good early?
Early he was good, but once Benavides decided that he wanted it, it was over. It's like you see that sometimes with these guys that are really good. It's like you get into those later rounds. They used to call them back when they were 15-round fights, the championship rounds. Late rounds, right? And that's when the guys took over, the great ones.
Nah, he definitely turned it up on him, and about 7th round it up, it was over. And if the refs didn't let Plant hold, my over wouldn't have hit. So he probably definitely would have got stopped.
Do you think that Benavides blowing up will have to blow up a little bit to fight Canelo? Canelo is a lot bigger than the size that he weighs in at. He's a lot bigger.
Yeah, he can definitely swell up Canelo.
I mean, I was at the Canelo.
Big.
He can be, Canelo can be had. We saw the fight that he lost recently, but I was at the other fight that he lost when Floyd just peppered him. I mean, Floyd worked him over. But it was a different Canelo then, and you could say, well, he wasn't ready for that or whatever. But he still is. He was in the ring with him, and he's got to be ready for him. And boy,
Floyd learned a lot from that fight.
Well, he learned how to get hit in the face, is what it looked like to me. I was at the fight.
Not get hit much. Yeah. He learned a lot from Floyd. Like defensively, like you said.
Defensively, it's like don't fight anybody who's that fast because they will just rip you apart. It's like Floyd looks fast. Floyd always looks fast when you go see him live. You can't really capture it on TV or like on the thing, but when you see him live, it's just like this guy. I mean, it's just so fast. And then it's like. But it's like against Canelo, he just looked like double fast. It was just like, oh my God, it's like I don't think he's going to get hit at all.
Yeah, both of them very special fighters, man. Shout out to Floyd, man. He did some amazing things. No disrespect to Canelo, because like I said, he learned a lot from
Canelo's
that fight.
A warrior. But Canelo, as much as he got hit in that fight, he always kept coming forward, which might not be the best strategy when the guy's just bombing you with just jabbing your face to pieces.
He didn't respect the power though. He didn't respect the power when he kept coming forward like that. I mean, they don't respect that power, but it doesn't look good when he keeps, like you said, hitting you in the dang face.
Oh my God. No one likes to get punched in the nose, that's for sure.
Yes.
Me included.
Yeah, I got lucky on that fight before the Colbert. They were calling that a robbery, man. They were trying to say Colbert lost on the points, what I gave out on the show. But we did get lucky with that one, and Colbert got the win on points. So it's like that sometimes with them judges. So,
what do you got cooking for us today?
Today we're gonna go to the NBA where I got the Brooklyn against the Magic, and I can make a point for both of these teams, but I think this line is just reacting off Brooklyn having no rest, and the Magic recent play. Magic recently they're 3-0 at home, and they have been playing good at home, but let's not overreact here. This is a Magic team that still has their struggles and struggles to score, and the bench hasn't been playing well as of recently. So now I'm just loving Brooklyn here. Brooklyn is a team that smashes up on us usually. They're going back to last year, they're 3-4, 3 wins, I'm sorry. They've won 3 out of the last 4. So 3 wins and only one loss to the Magic in their last 4 going against us. They're 22-17 on the road straight up. 6-6 on back-to-backs and 21-17 straight up after the win. I'm taking Nets on the money line. I'm not going to overreact here. I do think they have the better team. Magic are pretty good defensively, but Nets are just as good at defensively. And I believe their last game when they played the Magic, you sort of seeing everything starting to come together a little bit between the starters and the bench. So I'm on Brooklyn here.
I like it as well. I like the Nets. I just think that they're not getting enough love, and the Magic maybe getting a little bit too much love, kind of the way we started the season. For today's NCAA games, do you have premium picks on those or no?
No.
All right, so we're gonna get some free opinions here on the games. First game up, Creighton against San Diego State. What do you think?
Man, on this one, you gotta respect San Diego State defense, but I lean to Creighton here, man. I like what they've been doing offensively. I like their big man. I like their guards, man. So if they bring it all together here and they play how they've been playing turnover free basketball, I'm leaning Creighton -2 on this one right here. That first one.
Definitely the Big East represented well on Saturday with UConn. But, San Diego State, no one told them that they're not supposed to show up. What do you got for game 2? My Canes against Jay Briggs' Texas Longhorns.
Man, this is definitely, to me, the harder one of the two. But I'm sorry, Mitch. I'm gonna definitely have to lean with Texas, and it's more so. And I think Miami has all the offense in the world to pull it off, but it's more so where their defense step up against this Texas team. Man, this Texas team is deep. They got a lot of weapons all over the court, and I love their starters too. And it's just can Miami play the defense to chill them out? Because I know Miami can score with this team, man. I love what Miami does offensively, but can they play the defense to cool Texas off, man?
Well, they certainly did against Houston, so we'll see what happens. It's like, I just think when you get to teams at this level, it's just, guys are going to make shots. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. It's kind of like Steph, and I'm not saying any of these guys are as good as Steph, but it's like you see Steph, I mean, guys guarding him, whatever, and it's just, the second you take your eye off of him and he could be, at half court, it really doesn't matter. He's throwing it in, and it's like, if he's going to hit, like the shot that Sasser hit on the Canes the other night, it's like, he's going to hit that shot, he's good, he's really good, he's going to hit that shot. It's like, but we'll let him take it because it's like, we'll have to let him take it because we'd rather have him take that than the layup.
Yeah, the same, man. You can't really do nothing about good offenses, man. You can play as good as defense as you can, but if you got a better offense, it's going in. It's hard to guard.
We've got a few players that love to hit from the outside here. We've got guys that can hit from the inside. I don't know. Should be interesting.
I kind of love your chances, man. I like your chances, man. I'm just really gonna be watching defensively. Can y'all hang in there? Like you just pointed out, you guys had no problem doing it against Houston, so it'll be a fun one.
Yeah. What are you selling today if you don't have no college hoops?
I got NBA, 4 plays in the NBA. I love this NBA card today. I got my best bet out there, my make it, take it game of the day. And I got a 3-pack with one hockey game I love. I love a totals playing hockey, and I put that together with 2 NBA games on my easy side up Sunday 3-pack. So go check me out with that 3-pack and my best bet in the NBA today.
All right, Wayne, thanks for joining us, and hopefully you're wrong about that Texas game.
Yeah, man, I'm definitely gonna finish looking up everything I wanted to look up, and I'm definitely make a wager on that one. But ain't nothing said.
I'll tell you what I got. I'll tell you what I have to make a wager is a loaded bankroll from the past couple of days. I had both yesterday. I had Miami, of course, money line, halftime money line, everything against Houston. Had San Diego State against Alabama as well. So we'll have to see how these all pan out, and Florida Atlantic as well.
Yeah, I was about to
Today,
say
so.
I had Florida Atlantic yesterday. I don't know why I stayed off that UConn game. I got scared. I'm not sure why. I like UConn.
It's kind of like I
UConn,
went
but
money line on the UConn game, and I kind of felt stupid for it because I
yeah,
knew
it
like
was gonna
as soon as it was like 5 minutes in, I knew it was already over. You know, it was like Gonzaga was kind of like trying to hang in there, but it was like they had to work way too hard. You know, while UConn was just they were basically it was a shoot
UConn.
It was a shoot around, right? I mean, that's what it was.
They made it look very easy.
I think they just hit another three. I do. I think they just hit another one. All right, Wayne. We'll see you. Wayne Scott. Always a pleasure to have him on. Next up, see no show of hands. Let's bring in Rod, since he's always last. Rod, what's happening? I don't see that Gonzaga hat today.
No, and I couldn't burn it either because we got a little bit of fire ban going on in town because there was a big fire in town. So I'm not allowed to burn things up. It would really get me in trouble. So I did not want to have the fire department here and everybody else.
Two Gonzaga hats in 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. They would have come roaring in. And we deal with the volunteer fire department in a small town. So yeah, you don't want to piss off volunteers. What? We came here, we were burning up Gonzaga hat again.
I thought Gonzaga had a pretty good season, considering they didn't really ever have the team that they had in previous years. You know,
yeah,
they were. You know, normally they have that big out of conference early. Normally they play a little bit better against it than they did this year. They were unfortunate they had to go to Austin to play Texas. And last year at home they busted up Texas at home, so you knew they were going to be up for payback. You know, so. Just some tough breaks in that. And, you know, I think, you know, if Chet Holmgren returns for another season, it's probably a little different story for them this year. But,
definitely, right? So.
But I think Mark Fuel brought, you know, wipe his hands off and move forward. I have a feeling they're going to be back again next year, bigger and better than ever. And, you know, without BYU in the conference, though, they got to start thinking about what they're going to do and what their future is going to be, you know, in the college basketball landscape. Possibly move to a Mountain West or even to the Pac-12 as a basketball-only participant.
Right? It might
kind of the way Notre Dame does with the ACC. Like how Notre Dame does it with the ACC. They're only there for basketball.
Only there for hoops, yeah.
Well, anyways, what do you got cooking for us today?
Well, we're going to head to a little bit of NBA action. We're going to go with the Thunder taking on Portland in this one, and definitely lead to the Thunder Buddies on this one. But we're going to go with the total. You look at OKC, they're only averaging 105.7 points a game over their last three. Well, Portland averages 108 points a game, and that's a little high, I think, for all of these injuries that they got that they're dealing with right now. Portland's got so many guys out. Grant's out, Lillard out, Nurk is out, Winslow out, Simmons out, Maggi out. It's like, holy, it's just a makeshift unit you got there. So with that being said, I like OKC to easily snag the win in this one, but I think the under is the better play. It's going to feel like a first to 100 wins this. OKC 5-1 in the under their last 6 road games versus a team with a losing home record. Well, Portland 6-2 to that under in the last 8 at home versus a team with a losing record. Yeah, I think the under this total is way too high in this game.
Portland games generally, they just feel like they're going to be overs, but you're right, missing like a lot of those key players. I could see this one, you know, going more to the underside. Of course, the Thunder style is kind of that mud game, you know, drag teams down to their level, give themselves a chance at the end. And that's why they're such a good cover team, especially when they've been getting generous amounts of points over the years. Certainly not in this spot, they're not, but I mean, over the years, they're generally have been getting. This is like the number that they're getting. So you keep it close. Yeah. So if you keep it close enough to get a chance to win, then, you know, generally you're going to at least cover. And that's what the Thunder have been able to do. But this year, the lines have been a little tighter. Pretty good year for the Thunder overall. Probably a little ahead of where a lot of people thought they were going to be.
Yeah, definitely playing pretty good hoops. And definitely the future looks bright for this OKC team, that's for sure.
232 is what I'm seeing on this.
It's a lot of points.
It's a lot of points.
That's way too many points. It's just like, what the?
Might have to take a pause here. Put you back on solo so I can take care of some business. Could be convinced. But what do you got premiums on the big games today, or on the NCAA tournament, or?
I do have one premium, but
just one. Let's talk about the game you don't.
I'll talk about both. How's that? Then
all right.
I have no problem talking about both. The first one, I lean San Diego State the way their defense plays. Just solid defense. I think they can slow up Creighton and upset and snag a win there. So I think that lean San Diego State.
So like McDermott teams generally a little soft, right?
They are, right? Creighton can be had. They're not as
they can be had. They have guys that can shoot and play. I mean, they have inside, outside guys that can kind of do everything. But what's going to happen when they get punched in the gut? I mean,
exactly right. They're gonna San Diego State's gonna rough them up, and they're gonna be like, whoa.
When they've gone on the road in the conference, it hasn't always been so pretty. Teams like Xavier, roughing them up a little bit, zipping them up. So
yep, exactly right. So, and here's some stats for you that you'll like. You look at the teams off of 1 day's rest. You look at this Texas team off of 1 day's rest this year, 1-3-1 ATS off of 1 day's rest. While you look at the Hurricanes, 3-1 ATS their last 4 off of 1 day's rest, including 4-0 straight up off of 1 day's rest.
Yeah, the one loss was the game where the center got hurt and they lost to Duke.
They still won though. They won it. They didn't cover, but they got the win.
They did not win. It was the ACC tournament. They lost to Duke and did not cover. I think they were getting 5, lost by 7, something like that. But they were missing the big man, and that was the game. Yeah, it was. They were getting 2.5. They lost 85-78. That's the last time they lost, and that was on the back-to-back. So he went out. I believe he was hurt during the game. He played 1 minute of that game, and they lost it because they got killed on the inside without him. It's basically what happened. So my guess is Texas is going to try and get him out of there too.
What, with one of these like they did last game?
That's what they do.
I know that. We know that's what Texas does.
That's what they do.
Our guy's out. We have to take one of yours out now. Oh, there we go. Now it's even. Sorry.
We saw Pack get hit in the face last game too. It didn't slow him down at all. We saw him get elbowed across the face and no impact. But what do you got for sale today?
Every over Pick Dogs Premium today. I've got I got one college basketball play. You can scoop it up singly, or I've got my $15 Sunday NHL sniper play, $15. Pick that up over at Pick Dogs Premium, or I've got an NBA Birdcage. 3 plays I love in tonight's NBA action. I don't know, we're scoop it up. Grab a 3-day pass and just roll for 3 days. But not the bottom, and it's like the pool. You fall down to the bottom and you hang out there a little bit. But you don't want to hang out that long, and you pop back up to the top.
I've been sticking.
Ice cold.
I've been stuck in that 11th through 22nd draft choice for like the last month, where it's like I can't get to the top. I'm not all the way at the bottom. I'm kind of just mucking around. It's like I had some good days in there. I know it. It's some guys are extreme. Like you're either bottom or top.
Well, that's what I said. So I've been hanging out at the bottom lately. So it's time to move back up.
Usually a good time to buy low, sell high. All right, Rod. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
Next up, got Jovan. Jovan, how's it going? I know you're a UConn guy. You're usually good for a UConn wager. So I counting the stacks last night after that one.
And I loaded up.
Yeah.
First half, full game, parlay, same game parlay. Everything. Yeah.
I was with you on a lot of that in that game too. I actually went extended line in that game. Played the 9.5 on.
That's about the only thing I didn't do, but I should have died. And I was saying it during the game. I said, yeah, I should have just did extended also. Would have got a lot more bang for my buck.
I bet it a little smaller, but I bet it on the extended.
Yeah, I mean, that game was. And, the way I looked at that game, because I bet a lot of Gonzaga games, and I've seen them throughout the years. I likened that game to, the 2-game sequence. The last game they had against UCLA and then, this game against UConn. I likened it to a couple seasons ago where they had that last second, heroic shot and then had to play Baylor in the championship game and got their bell rung and, the undercast. and I did the same thing. It was the same type of scenario. So you got to watch the games to know things like that. So I took advantage.
Got to take advantage of them. But what do you got cooking for us today?
Yeah, we're gonna look at the Spurs versus Celtics, hometown team. Looking at the Spurs team, the better the team their opponent is, the less of a chance they have to score. It's as simple as that. I don't think personally they're gonna get to the 100 to the century mark, and the trends basically speak to that. The under is 4-0. To in the last 4 road games versus a team with a home winning percentage over 600, and you look at that stat alone or that trend alone, and it's going to tell you a lot with this team. Now, this is a team in the Spurs that they go over a lot. They're 42, 31-1 to the over this season, but in spots, especially against a team like the Celtics who do it on both ends of the court, both offensively and defensively, I don't think the Celtics, let them get anywhere near the 100 plateau. They might get to 90 to 95 points, and I don't think the Celtics are gonna drop 130 on them themselves. The Spurs, and I'm not taking aside anything. I really have no opinion on it, but it's a big spread, and I should say this: the Spurs are 9-1 against the spread against the Celtics, but this Spurs team is that bad to where they could lose by 25 to 30 points. So I wouldn't take that into consideration aside here. But as far as the total, I like the under in this one, so I'm all over the under.
I'm on the Spurs in this one. I got to say, I just think that, when you look at it historically, they've just played really well against the Celtics. They've covered a lot of spreads against them. I think the Celtics are a good offensive team, but we've seen the second half of the season, the defense, not having the defense kind of comes back to bite them. But it's a team that made it to the finals last year. So I think the second season is going to prove to be second season for them too, because I think that experience and that knowing what it takes, we just see that time and time again across sports, teams that, came up short, they just want it more and they know what it takes to get there. And that's why we thought a few years ago in the bubble, when the Nuggets lost, that maybe that they had it. And even the Jazz with Donovan Mitchell, when he was crying on the sideline, we thought that maybe that, that was the thing that put it over. And we always see Diggs, from Buffalo, stands there and watches the other team celebrate when they get knocked out of the playoffs. And you think that, well, maybe that'll be what it carries across, but just hasn't sunk in for any of those teams. But maybe this time around. But the Celtics traditionally not very good at losing, They usually bounce back pretty well historically.
Yeah, but in this era of the NBA, and really it's across all sports, you see these teams, they're at the threshold, they're right there, they make it to the championship game or the championship series, and then the next year you would think that would bring them to another level, but then it just doesn't happen. You have a deep East team, and the teams that you mentioned a couple seasons ago, the Nuggets in the West, the Utah Jazz in the West, teams like that, they just have a lot more competition that's at their level or even better, that, in the next year, they just smack them up. And it might be the case with the Celtics. I'm a Celtics fan, so, I want them to win, but, you have the Bucks. You have the Sixers coming along all of a sudden. And the Sixers, to me, they're like a sleeping giant. You got Embiid. All the rest of the players going to follow suit because Embiid's coming. That's for damn sure. So, the way I look at it, the Celtics, their defense isn't like last year, but hey, maybe their offense can carry them through. But it's gonna be a hell of a Eastern Conference playoffs. That's for damn sure.
Absolutely. What do you got cooking today at Pick Dogs?
I got a full board for college basketball. I got both sides in totals for both games. So I got a 5-pack going. I also got a 3-pack going in college, but I got a 5-pack going for Elite Eight games, Elite Eight plays, and one NBA play that I really like. I really like this play also. This should have been a premium, but I left it off the table, put it on the color room floor, and so I'm on this. That's a 5-pack.
What do you think of Rod's pick on that total. I'm on that with them. The Portland, the under almost makes sense. I mean, Rod talks a lot of nonsense, but I think that one he actually
and it's kind of a similar situation where, you have a lot of players out for this game, or the Celtics and Spurs game, or at least on the injury report. But you see for Portland, it's like they didn't already cancel their season. They laying down. They got everybody on the bench for this one. So it's as far as the other two games before today, and you got a OKC team that they're ready to make it to the playing scenario. So I like that play.
I generally have not liked the whole idea of the playing games because I think the season is the playing games, but the way that it's kind of made the West really, really exciting, maybe softening me up a little bit, but I still think that the season is the play-in.
I mean, it should be, but hey, listen, I don't know with these suits. The NBA is what it is. It's gonna attract attention. It's gonna attract fans. You don't need to change it, but they constantly try to tweak things.
One thing we know about the NBA and the NFL in dealing with them is it's just a bunch of lawyers. That's all.
Right.
That's at the end of the day, there's players, there's all the association, there's this stuff. Everybody that is, and then the NFL as a league, the front office, it is just a bunch of lawyers. Same thing with the NBA. That's all it is. But anyways, Jovan, thanks for joining us. Smash it again today. Make it a winner.
Looking to it.
All right, Jovan Burts sitting on top of that yearly leaderboard once again. I sound like a broken record, but that's a good broken record to sound like. Next up, we'll bring in Jay Briggs. We've got our rivalry going on today. We got Miami versus Texas, my Canes, Jay's Longhorns. I tell you, I'm not as nervous. I'm not as like any thing as I would like to be. I would like to win. Of course, if we don't win, at least one of us has got a team in the Final Four, and I'll if we lose, I'll root for you guys. So I got no problem with that. It's if you guys have the sack to beat us, which you don't, but that's okay. Guys get, it's kind of like going to that big pancake breakfast. Only one person wins the raffle for the big TV set. Everyone else gets a nice stack of pancakes.
Yep. It's gonna be a great one today, man. I'm excited for it, man. Texas hasn't made the Final Four in 20 years. So I was 3 years old last time.
Miami's never been in the Final Four.
Exactly. So
but Miami hasn't played basketball as long as most of these other programs. Miami stopped playing basketball for a very long time and then restarted the program with Al Horford's father, Tito Horford.
I didn't know that.
Yep. Miami stopped playing basketball for a very long time. And then they started playing again, I believe. I'm not sure what year it was, but it wasn't that long ago.
I did not know that. That's interesting.
Yep.
It's going to be a hell of a game today, though. It's not an easy gimme for Texas, man. They've been my favorite all year. The way UConn looking, though, it's going to be pretty tough if we do got to see them. But we got to get through Miami first. I hope my big guy plays today. We'll see, man. I think he's a huge addition to that team. But y'all know I'm leaning Texas in that game.
So trying to find out when that was that Miami stopped playing it. 1985.
They stopped playing in 85?
No, they started playing in 85.
Started playing again in 85. Okay.
Yeah. After not playing, throughout the 70s. I know that much.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yep. But what do you got cooking today?
Today, I'm going to head out to the NBA. We've had a lot of huge spreads recently in the NBA. I'm going to attack one today. Just missed my premium area, but I'm going to lay that 14 with the Cleveland Cavaliers as I do think they take this Rockets team behind the shed, man. Cleveland, they've been in that mode recently as they have won 4 of their last 5. And, 3 of those were out on the road where they typically have not played their best basketball this season. At home is where the Cleveland Cavaliers have been absolutely money this season, as they are the second best cover team at home in the entire NBA, 23-13-1 at home this season. They have already hammered this Rockets team once, 113-95 on the 26th of January in Houston. there's no doubt in my mind that they probably do the same tonight in Cleveland. We've seen Houston. They were scrappy there for a minute, but in that same breath, man, they just got blown out by Memphis, 151-114. Golden State beat them pretty good, man. They lost by 10 to the Pelicans. I don't think this is a game where the Rockets keep it competitive. I think Cleveland probably hammers them in this spot tonight. I'll lay that 14.
I'm with you on this one. I like the Cavs in this one. I think the Cavs, the only thing that scares me here is they don't really have much to play for. They don't have much room to move up or down. They're probably not going to move anywhere. I think a win here, they probably actually clinch that, where that's not going to happen. They're just getting to that point of the season. And, for the Rockets, it is time to start thinking about another season and maybe more looking at some of these bench players and see who's going to be part of the future of this organization, because they've got a ton of draft picks.
They do. And they got a ton of young guys in there right now. So they got to figure out, what's the best course moving forward. I've been hearing rumblings that maybe Harden comes back to Houston next season. They're going to chase a star. They're going to continue to develop young talent.
John Wall. John Wall's triumphant return.
Yeah, man. You never know, man. So huge offseason for this Rockets team. They might we never know. They might end up with Wembanyama. So we'll see.
Well, they got the Clippers pick also, so I think it's a pretty deep draft. I mean, watching this NCAA tournament, you see some of these guys, on these teams that kind of can absolutely play. And sometimes you don't really notice these guys until the NCAA tournament that you think that they can play at this high of a level. But guys like, even the Miami guys, Pack and Wong, I think both those guys can go.
Yeah, somebody that really just blast on my radar during the tournament is Noel from Kansas State. I know he's on the smaller side, but I think we'll see him in the NBA, man.
Well, my guy a few years ago was Wright from Colorado, and he's still in the NBA, man. I was like, this is a guy that's probably going to be that second-round draft choice that 12 years later, this guy's still on an NBA roster contributing quality minutes because he just does all those things. And it's like, I think in the NBA, it's not just about the guys that are the superstars. It's about the guys that can fulfill a number of different roles, play some different things. And the guys that in that, say they only get 5 to 7 minutes a game, they leave it all on the court for that 5 to 7 minutes,
Yep. For sure, man. Excited for today's action, man. Got a lot of it today. A lot of NBA, huge college hoops later on today. I'm excited.
Besides your Miami pick, what else do you got for sale today?
I got
money line, right?
I got quite a bit in NBA, but I think I got like 6 NBA plays today. I really love today's card. And then I got 1 in college hoops. So I can get all that over at Pick Dogs Premium. That other game, I lean Creighton in that San Diego State game. I kind of lean Creighton. San Diego State's been on a great run. I could see them pulling the upset too, but I don't know.
I think San Diego State's got to hit them hard. They got to take some hard fouls in this one, send them a message because that's their game, make Creighton uncomfortable, get Creighton nervous, get them turning the ball over. It's like, that's their game. If Creighton can keep their composure, something that they haven't been able to do in big games, and it could be like that UConn game.
Yep. UConn really, it was tight. I'm mad at myself too. I had UConn. I didn't put it in as a premium. It's because I had faded Gonzaga on the money line the 2 previous games before. I knew they were frauds. I knew they weren't as good as past Gonzaga's teams. And then yesterday, I was kind of upset that I had, faded them on the money line 2 games before, so I didn't put it in as a premium yesterday. I did bet UConn, though, so it was a nice day.
No, UConn was my top play of the day. But anyways, Jay, thanks for joining us. We'll see you during the week. I'll be on the Bank Shop breakdown or the jam session afternoon. The afternoon jam session. You got to come up with a better name.
My guy Ron's up next with the Bank Shop breakdown, man. I'm pretty sure he got some hot fire for y'all in college hoops, man.
Wow.
I'll be back later today, 3 Central, 4 Eastern, per usual. Live.
All right. Who's your guest?
I don't know yet. I'll figure out here in a minute.
All right. On the fly. Call Big Al. See what the hell he's doing.
I might just email him, see what he's doing.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, Shay. Next up, last but not least, we've got Ron Romanelli. Ron, thanks for your patience.
Of course. Patience is a virtue.
But, it's a big day. Bank Shop breakdown it all season. I think, it was interesting. I was at a party yesterday and I was in Vegas last week. And, I say this all the time. people become experts when they fill out their bracket. All of a sudden they know more than we do. They picked, something in their bracket that won that we didn't have, or, whatever, or even if we did have it, they still, their pick of it was better than we had. Like I had, what was the one I had? Florida Atlantic yesterday in my video or something. And like I gave out Florida Atlantic, but that wasn't good enough. People hammering me in the comments because they had Florida Atlantic and their Florida Atlantic pick was better than mine. I'm not really sure I understand it, but whatever the case may be, it's been a great tournament. It has shown us a lot of different things. We talked yesterday about the selection committee, the selection process, and some sort of things. And, there's never going to be a perfect system. This one just doesn't seem to be the best. I always think that, you start with maybe the regular season champs and the conference champs and give those guys all the top seeds to start with, 1s and 2s, because they earned it. You win your regular season of any of the big conferences, Pac-12, even the Big East, that really is kind of like the playoff of the playoff, and what the direction they're going in college football, where if you win your conference, you go to the playoffs.
I think the only issue with that, though, would be just putting too much weight on conference play. And that way, those mid-major teams, your St. Bonaventures and your Daytons that try to schedule up in non-conference play, they're not going to be able to get those schedules because your UConns and your good teams in the Power 5 conferences, if they just all they have to do is win their conference, they're not going to schedule these mid-major schools and risk losing to them for no reason, having to pay them good money to lose to them. So that's where I would have a little bit of an issue with that, because obviously conference play matters and the regular season in the conference matters too. But non-conference scheduling, we saw a team like Michigan State, who had a better run than most teams in the Big Ten this year. They scheduled a really tough non-conference schedule, playing a lot of different styles of teams, and it helped them out in the end. So, I think resumes non-conference matter too.
Well, when you look at Conference USA and you look at what they've done in the NIT, you look at what they've done here in the Big Dance, and you say, why wasn't UAB even in this thing? I don't know. Why was Rutgers there instead of them?
Yeah, man. It just goes back to not really being able to get too strong of a schedule. But now, this is a program that's on the rise. They should.
How about North Texas? They usually play a pretty tough schedule.
This year they were, it wasn't that great. They played a couple tough ones, St. Mary's, but they didn't beat St. Mary's. They lost by 30. So in those step-up games, non-conference, if those teams get crushed, it's really going to hurt their chances.
Well, I think you look at UAB against some of these other teams that did make it, and you just say, "Oh man, lost run there." You look at them up against some of these other teams that did make it. You say, you know what? They could clobber half these teams.
Of course, there's always going to be teams that are better than the teams in the field, but it's all based on resume.
But what gives Indiana a number 4 seed resume? What gives them that?
Because they're in that Big Ten conference. That's really the only reason.
But the Big Ten has had 2 national champions in the last 35 years.
It's been the most overrated conference in college hoops in the last 2 decades. But if you throw a team like UAB in that Big Ten conference, I don't think they're going to have a winning record.
I think they might give some teams a little bit more trouble than you think. And I
love UAB, but
they said the same thing. They said the same thing about TCU when they put them in the Big 12, and look at them in football this year.
And that's why FAU's moving up to the AAC, and that's why teams move out of conferences when they get too big for their own that's why you look 10, 15 years ago, we see teams like Butler in mid-major conferences. Creighton was in a mid-major conference, Missouri. So, I think that's why teams move up, teams move down, and it keeps the system going.
It'll be interesting to see exactly if there's any wrinkles or changes to the system after this. Yeah. But what do you got cooking for everyone today?
Yeah, I'm looking at the NBA here, and I like the Raptors laying the points against the Wizards today. Raptors, they've played fundamentally well basically all season. The big problem for them has just been their shooting numbers. Not the most talented team shooting the basketball, but This is a team that plays really great on its home court. There are 10 games above 500 straight up at home. Coming off a nice win over the Pistons by 118-97 final score. It was a game where, they held Detroit to 24% from the perimeter. Toronto's got a great perimeter defense. They're a good offensive rebounding team. They had a big advantage on the glass in that one, and that's just been a thing for Toronto. They attack the offensive glass. They're strong on the defensive glass. They force a lot of turnovers, and defensively, they're just a sound team. And the reasons, like I mentioned, like why they struggle, they just don't have great shooting performances. But against the Washington Wizards defense, it's been a sieve basically all season. A team that just gave up 124 points to the San Antonio Spurs of all teams. I think Toronto will be fine here offensively. Washington in that Spurs game, they won by 12 points, but they needed 50% from three, 15 of 30 from the perimeter in that one. I don't think they're going to get that against this Toronto defense. So I like the Raptors to win this one by double digits. So I'm going to points with Toronto.
Yeah, I looked at this game too, and it's like I almost took the Raptors as a premium pick. I came really, really close, and I was just like, they're the same guys that roasted me against the Pacers the other night. So I was like, just the inconsistency just kind of got to the best of me. And I know, that's not always the way that you should look at it, but I guess it just left a mark, that 118-114 against the Pacers. And the game was never even really that close. I don't know. I struggle with the Raptors. It's a big number. And I hate the Wizards too.
Yeah, and in that Pacers game, they lost the game by 4 in the end. And I know it wasn't that close of a game really much of the way, but they shot 20.6% from three, Indiana 52.4%, and they still made it competitive in terms of the final score. So it goes to show, Toronto, a good fundamental team, just those shooting numbers, man, they could really get, I would say they're one of the more unlucky teams in the NBA this year.
Yeah, I see some comparisons here to Noel to Spud Webb, and I think Spud was a lot smaller than Noel. I think he was also about twice as fast, but that's besides. Now it's actually only 2 inches shorter. Spud 5'6", Noel 5'8", but I think that Spud was a lot faster. But Noel, great player.
Yeah, great.
I like those gutsy players, and I think if you go to Kansas State, you got to be a guy that looks and you're going to be a prominent player there. Just the way their sports programs work, football, basketball, you got to be at least a full body shorter than everybody else to be the main guy, right? You got the Deuce in football, and you got Noel in hoops. So, been a great season. You have premiums on both games today, or just the one?
Just the Creighton San Diego State game. Miami, Texas. I lean towards Texas, but Miami, the big thing for me, Wayne mentioned it earlier, can their defense hold up? It's ranked outside the top 100 in defensive efficiency. Texas, with their injury concerns, Dessou is a big player for them. So, but they are a deep team, like Wayne mentioned. They do play a lot of their bench. So, we'll have to see. I lean towards Texas, but I think it's going to be a great game.
I think the winner of that game is certainly have earned it. And the two teams that are there already, Florida Atlantic and UConn, can't take anything away from them. They reseeded this tournament and, came out with the bracket all over again and put UConn on the 1 line. I don't think anyone is shocked. And I think Florida Atlantic as a 3 wouldn't have been all that insulting to anybody. They certainly earned that. And I think maybe earned a little bit more respect. But as we know, the beauty of this is for a team like Florida Atlantic, boy, November rolls around. No one's going to remember this. And we're going to be back to eat these books alive on these sort of games. And that's what we saw, when Loyola Chicago made these types of runs, and, Miami getting into this after going to the Elite Eight last year, and nobody really, even talking about it this year. So, always about finding that value. You think do you think maybe separating into 2 different tournaments would do anything? Like maybe a smaller conference tournament and a big conference.
What do you mean, like a 2 NCAA tournaments?
Yeah, like 2 different ones, like a smaller conference.
Nah, that would kind of take away from the impact that the main tournament has. I mean, there's still the other postseason tournaments for the teams that won the regular season conference and just didn't win their conference tournament, and some of the other teams like that just missed the tournament, the NIT. So the NIT, it may not be as exciting as the big dance, but certainly helps the programs. Money wise, they can do pretty well, especially teams like Utah Valley that are making big runs. I mean, that's a program that if you tell them you're in the semis and in the NIT before the season, that they're very, very happy. So, I like the way it's set right now.
Dusty May headed to a bigger job?
Well, the thing is, it depends on. I think it depends on where his players go. I mean, this is a young team, like I mentioned. So if they stay around, why not run it back? You can, if you got the same team but more experience, you had a couple transfers, you can run it back. I mean, it's Final Four right now. Who says they can't win a national championship? And this is a team that's moving up to the AAC soon. So, it's not a bad job for Dusty May, in my opinion. But I don't know what he's looking at.
Well, we're going to be looking at millions and millions and millions of dollars being
Oh,
thrown
yeah.
his way from
Oh, yeah.
major big-time programs. So,
But this program just got a payday themselves with every win they get along the way in this tournament. So they might.
any
They might
coaches
put it
you're
up.
surprised? Like, I'm surprised Ohio State hasn't fired their coach yet.
No, I mean, it's tough to tell. I mean, I think it's surprising to see how quickly the carousel works. Right? We see a coach get fired, and then we see reports that Rick Pitino's close to signing a deal with St. John's. It's like they just fired Anderson, not too long ago. So I think in pro sports we see the vacancy kind of lasts a little bit longer. But I think in college sports you don't want to miss out on your guy, and he'll go quick. So these teams are going really quick to try to get the guy that they're after. I mean, FDU a couple of weeks ago nobody was talking about him, and now Tobin Anderson's with Iona. So that's how quick things can change in college sports.
Any truth to the rumors? Jay Wright to Ohio State?
I couldn't really. I don't know anything about it, but who knows? I think there's rumors that Ron's going to Mississippi Valley.
It's out there.
I think he's looking for Ron Romanelli.
This is the time of year where we see these big changes happen. So
yep.
I wouldn't be surprised. But anyways, Ron, thanks for joining us as always. Everyone, it's going to be an awesome day of games. I'm going to be pretty excited one way or another. Like I said, generally I always hope for the best, but I think in this one against Texas, I think, kind of like the way I felt against Kansas last year, it'd be awesome if we win. I'd be happy, but I'm not going to be all that disappointed if it doesn't go our way for some reason, because once again, no one picked us to go here. I mean, I think that win against Houston was about as good. There's nothing that's going to top that anyway.
A national championship wouldn't hurt.
I'm telling you, in college basketball, the national championship game is not as big as going to the Final Four, winning the championship game, unless it's in one of these thrilling, exciting finishes. I think going to the Final Four really is the mecca.
Well, I mean, this championship is got to be better in the end, winning it.
I don't think so.
I could see like making the Final Four over just making the championship, but winning the whole thing. I mean, that's what you play for.
I guess so, or you play to go to the Final Four.
Yeah. Well, then after you get there, you got to do a little bit more, or else let's just call it now. Let's say the Final Four is that's it.
So does UConn play Florida Atlantic? Is that how it works?
No, it'll be the winner. FAU plays the winner of Creighton, San Diego State, and UConn will play the winner of Miami, Texas.
Wow, I would say the winner of that one is going to be the winner.
Yeah.
It's going to be UConn, Miami, or Texas.
But it's nice to see either FAU, Creighton, or San Diego State will be in the championship game.
Well, that's kind of like when Butler went. When Butler went twice, back to back. That might be before your time too. But
no, I was around.
They went back to backers as well. So I think they played VCU to get to the title game 1 year. Yeah, too bad Big Al McMorty's not here, but this is always one of the best times of the year. So we'll see what happens. Anyways, thanks for joining us. Let's make it a winning day, everyone. We will see you tomorrow morning, as always, and let's make it a winning day. Ron, going to be a light week for the bank shop breakdowns, but Thursday, you're probably locked and loaded already on this.
Kevin Gosman to win the Cy Young, Alex Cobb to win the Cy Young.
I'll be fading Gosman from the outset.
Oh, Lucas Giolito too, and the Padres to win the World Series.
Padres to win the World Series.
Juan Soto MVP.
I was in San Diego last week, and they were very excited about their Padres.
I'm excited.
Even the homeless are wearing Padres shirts.
Juan Soto MVP all day long.
I don't know about that.
As long as he can learn how to catch a baseball.
That's not going to happen.
But he'll hit 500.
We'll see. It's always interesting in baseball, the injuries, that happen. Remember a few years ago, the Mets had like that unbelievable starting rotation, and then like by third week of the season, it was all minor leaguers,
The
like
Mets are
DeGrom, Syndergaard. It was like right there was stacked.
The Mets are already starting with their injuries this year.
It's what they do.
Yep, a cursed franchise.
When you go with Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander as your 1 and 2, are you kind of asking for trouble at that point? Because I mean, we've seen these guys do it before, but that was about 10 years ago.
No,
I
didn't like the Verlander signing. I mean, I know he won the Cy Young, but these both guys, they're like you said, they're begging for an injury with getting up in age there. So we already saw Edwin Diaz down, Jose Quintana's down. I don't know. I think the Braves are still the clear favorites in that division.
Who's the young pitcher that's going to set the world on fire this season?
Well, I think Spencer Strider will also have another good year. There's not a ton of prospect in terms of the pitching. I think there's more position players like Corbin Carroll for the Diamondbacks, Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman for the Orioles, and then Anthony Volpe for the Yankees looking real good. He might be the youngest player to start at shortstop on opening day since a little guy named Derek Jeter. So we'll see.
I'm a Hunter Brown guy. We'll see what happens.
Oh yeah, that's another one. Yep. Hunter Green, I think, has a bounce back season too.
I like Hunter Brown. I like George Kirby. I mean, these are, I think, the next wave of great ones. I think Kirby's going to be unbelievable with a year on.
I'm worried for Logan Gilbert. I think he could be in trouble this year.
Seemed to tail off at the end of last season.
Yep.
Pretty big. So kind of got a lot of that celebrity status in Seattle.
Yeah,
when you're watching the MLB plan and you kind of get those local feeds, you see the guys showing up in a lot of the commercials on those feeds, like Logan Gilbert did.
Yeah,
softens them up a little bit. Joe Ryan, another one.
Yeah, we'll see with Joe Ryan. The jury's still out on him.
A lot of guys were injured last year too. This should be a good year. I think it's going to be competitive. We'll know in a hurry, I think.
I'm really excited. Yep.
Over under on canceled Rockies games in the first 2 months of the season.
Oh my God, I know. Over under on how many years the Rockies still have left in Colorado is my question, because I don't think that this is a franchise that can actually win in Colorado. Just the way that the players, how when they play a home series and then they go on the road, it's really tough for those players to adjust. So
Vegas is acting like the A's are their team already.
Vegas is acting like the A's are their team
already.
I mean,
I was out there, last week, and they were talking about how the A's were coming.
I think so.
I mean, makes sense.
If the ownership can make a couple bucks, that they'll definitely take that. They sure like to save a couple bucks. So
interesting to see. But anyways, Ron, thanks for joining us. Let's call it a day.
All righty.
Have a winning day, everybody.
Good luck, everybody.